if you're a people pleaser, if you're a nice guy, you're going to have an overly stimulated nervous system. External validation, that's what it all comes down to. This is probably the biggest attribute of a people pleaser, of the nice guy. If we're avoiding conflict, we can't be authentic, we can't be ourselves. If we can't be ourselves, we can't be happy, we can't even be healthy. Validation comes from within. True validation. You're not going to get it outside of yourself. How you doing, fellas? Being a nice guy can kind of suck. We tend to not get the women that we're attracted to. We tend to not get the things we want in life. Trying to create the life that we truly want is difficult when we have nice guy tendencies, when we seek approval, when we are needy of validation. It makes it very hard to form deep bonds, especially in relationships with women. It can really affect our sex life. There's a lot of implications. I'm going to talk about the three main attributes. I'm going to talk about how they play out in life, because really it all starts with awareness. If you can start getting aware of these behaviors, it's the place you need to be in order to start healing them and choosing something else from which to live your life by. And I'm also going to talk about how you can actually overcome these attributes, for lack of a better word. I don't know what else to call them. I think attributes is a reflection of what they are, right? I don't want to put a negative spin on them. They are essentially a bit negative, but they can be healed. But ideally you want to start loving them. You want to love the parts of you that you think are not okay. The parts of you that need validation, need love. When you don't accept those parts, then the healing tends to be an attempt to try and fix yourself, which can come with a whole heap of new problems. So really, guys, like I invite you to bring full acceptance to yourself. And if you have any of these character traits, it's going on in your unconscious. You're not consciously choosing them. I do believe you're unconsciously choosing them. And let's talk about how you can overcome them. Number one, being a people pleaser. Seeking validation from other people. External validation. That's what it all comes down to. This is probably the biggest attribute of a people pleaser, of the nice guy. It's seeking external validation. So why would you seek external validation? Why do I seek external validation at times? Well, for the simple reason, in those moments, we're not validating ourselves. We have no sense of self-validation, self-acceptance, self-love, and therefore we must seek it through the eyes and through the validation of others. We need to see and feel that the people around us are not disapproving of us. We want to see that they're approving on us, and that's done through their emotions. Essentially what we're trying to do is manage our emotions through other people. So if the people around you, this could be your girlfriend, family members, it could be with parents, this is often a big one, could be just with your close friends. If they're experiencing the survival-based emotions, which means their nervous systems are triggered, right? So when your nervous system's triggered, you can only experience survival emotions. Anger, fear, whatever, pride, there's a whole bunch of them. Apathy, greed, shame, guilt. Now, if the people around you experience those emotions based on you being your authentic self, and you get triggered by the survival emotions in these people, then you're going to want to package yourself to ensure that the people around you don't go into their survival emotions, and then they don't trigger you. And this is really what it all comes down to, is we're avoiding ourselves, we're avoiding feeling certain emotions ourselves that arise when the people around us feel certain emotions, especially when those emotions are directed towards us. So an example of this that I had in my life was when I started saying no to social events, because I was a yes man. I said yes to everything. Then I started saying no. That was triggering for my friends. That felt bad for me. I felt really uncomfortable by that because I felt the connection disappearing somewhat. Now, in that, I started saying yes again because I wanted to maintain the connection. Now, ideally you don't want to do that, but you also got to look after yourself and you got to take things one step at a time. So how do you overcome this? It's actually really simple. Most of these practices are simple. They shouldn't be complicated. If they're complicated, they're probably packaged in a way that they're advertised. You know, you get these adverts a lot of the time that are trying to get you to buy a program, and there's all these different things to do, and there's like hours of footage to watch through. Yeah, I mean, really, you're just putting more stuff into your brain. It's not good. It's not what you want. If you're a people pleaser, if you're a nice guy, you're gonna have an overly stimulated nervous system that just comes with it. Okay, so you don't want to overstimulate your stuff with all this learning. It's just more stuff in your head. You're already up in your head too much. Validation comes from within. True validation. You're not going to get it outside of yourself. If you get the validation from other people, if other people validate you, it's not going to, if it feels good, it's not going to be a lasting thing. It's going to disappear when that validation goes, which means you become attached to the validation and then you need it, and then therefore you act out in more ways to ensure you get that. It's not how you want to live, right? Validate yourself. Sounds too simple to be true. Sometimes, almost always, simple is the way forward. Simple and effective. For most guys, they don't know how to validate themselves, approve of themselves. And when you invite them to do it, it gets awkward, they get uncomfortable. Is that you? Do you feel a bit uncomfortable at the idea of approving of yourself? If it does, like, great, this is where the work is for you. Sit with the uncomfortable emotions that arise when you give yourself approval. Because when you work through those emotions, you can start tapping into the approval that exists underneath those heavier based emotions, right? And you literally, it's very simple. Think of something that you approve of someone that you approve of. Now bring that approval onto you in an unconditional way. So you're not approving of anything that you've achieved, the money you've accumulated, the friends, the relationships, none of it. You're literally just approving of you to you for no reason. That is unconditional, just for being you, and you just approve of yourself. And if it gets uncomfortable, great. Like I say, go into those uncomfortable emotions. This is where we practice emotional releasing. We allow and we surrender ourselves to the emotions that might come up. So that could be awkwardness, could be anger, could be pride. Like, what sort of a stupid exercise is this? Great. That's more emotion for you to uncover. Let it come out. Breathe into it. Relax yourself into the emotion. Feel it. Let it go. How does it feel to walk around approving of yourself? Because I tell you guys, it feels really fucking good. Number 2, avoiding conflict. This is a big one. Avoiding conflict. Because if we're avoiding conflict, we can't be authentic. We can't be ourselves. If we can't be ourselves, we can't be happy. We can't even be healthy. Like I tell you guys, seeking approval is an expression of stress from the nervous system. When you're stressed, your entire system's not working functionally. optimally. You want to reduce the stress within your nervous system, and you want to be able to handle conflict. It's a real challenging one because the wounds of this run very deep. They ran very deep in me. I was terrified of conflict. I didn't even realise that I was until conflict found me, and I saw how I would react to it. I would react with terror, with shutdown. I wouldn't be able to talk. I would sweat and I would blush and I would experience almost extreme shame. Oh, it's a horrible experience, and it can really like demasculinize you, if that's the word, because you just lose all power and you can't stand up for yourself. Yeah, it's a nasty one. I'm sorry if you're going through that now. There is a way out though. There 100% is a way out, and I didn't think there would be, because it ignited the fear response so deeply within me. I just didn't think that there was a way out of it. But I have to say, the most powerful tool to being able to handle conflict is grounding your energy. Because in those moments of conflict, when you freeze up or you go into fight or flight, your energy's up in your head. You're overthinking. Your eyes are darting around. You're freezing up. Sometimes you go so high up here that you leave your body and you go into total shock. That's because you're disembodied. Your energy goes up here when you're stressed. And the more stressed you are, the more up here you go. This is like the realm that people with ADHD probably know well, right? Where we like totally zone out and our body goes a bit stiff. It's maybe if we've been scrolling for too much or we've been overstimulating ourselves. We got to bring ourselves back down into the body. It's one of the most powerful tools you can do to bring regulation to your nervous system. I mean, look at the state of the world. Look at what happens to people when they get old these days. All the complications and the brain diseases that people are having. I mean, I'm certain this is all a result of stress. We're not supposed to be stressed our whole lives. If you've got people pleasing and behaviours and you're avoiding conflict, it's coming from stress in your nervous system. You've got to find calm. You've got to find balance. Grounding is such a powerful tool for this. I'm going to put a link in the description below. I've done a double meditation offer for £1 English. The free bonus is a grounding meditation which you can practice every day. It's really powerful. I had a review from one of the listeners who said that he overcome his social anxiety for like 2 hours after practicing it. And he was able to connect with people, which he can't normally do. So do try it out. But yeah, grounding. You want to get to a point where when you're in conflict, you can be in contact with your legs, with your feet on the ground. Because when you're down here, you can manage your emotions, you manage your stress, and that means you can manage your voice, you can manage your reactions, you can manage how you react to conflict. But it involves being grounded. Now, if you're spending almost all of your days overstimulating yourself with your phone, with with sugar, whatever you're doing, just constantly being in your head and quick fire movements and carrying tension in your body, it's all communicating that you're under threat, that you're under danger, and therefore your brain will continue to send out the signals of stress. You'll be ungrounded. You got to balance it out with some regulation. Problem is, it's when you're used to all the stimulation, meditating and grounding practices can seem really boring because you want to be stimulated, right? But this is the only way out that I know, outside of taking pharmaceutical drugs, which in most cases I don't recommend. And there are cases where it's good to do that. I'm not saying not to, but in a lot of cases we can bring regulation and calm to our nervous systems. We can get ourselves grounded and we can handle the things that we thought we couldn't handle based on where our energy's at. Number 3, suppressing your emotions. This is a big one as well. Do you catch yourself hiding certain emotions from the people around you. Maybe you hide it from women in relationships, or you hide it from your friends or family. This is something that I still deal with today. And it can, essentially we just want to be able to own ourselves, own who we are in each moment. But sometimes the patterns run deep in our unconscious, and these stories tell us that we shouldn't be and express certain emotions. We shouldn't be angry, we shouldn't be sad, we shouldn't be afraid, we shouldn't be prideful, we shouldn't be depressed, we shouldn't be anxious, we shouldn't be confused, we shouldn't be procrastinating or apathetic. They're all just conditioning. It's all just stories in the head. None of it's real. Literally none of it. It's just a voice you have in your head that's telling you you can't be a certain way because that's what the communication you received when you were younger. That's how we get molded into society, is like, that's okay, that's not okay. It's just that a lot of the things that we were told were not okay, actually is what's needed to be a healthy adult. So what's needed to be able to create your life, like a life of your dreams, right? A life that you want to be living. Because sometimes you got to be angry. If you're a nice guy, you're probably hiding your anger a lot. You're probably afraid to even feel your anger. So that's an emotion that you're hiding. And then often the anger comes out in frustration, because the anger can't be fully expressed. And so it comes out in frustration, which is often more of an internalized form of anger, which doesn't really help us to let go of it. It's just this frustration that we walk around with. If you walk around with a lot of frustration, sometimes it can really help just to be fucking angry once in a while. You can shout in a pillow, if you've got a punching bag or you've got a boxing gym, you can go and just punch the shit out of the bag whilst thinking about the thing that's frustrating you. Get yourself down the woods and just fucking shout. Get it out. It's really fucking important. Same goes with sadness. All of the emotions, essentially. When you start owning them, you face the uncomfortability, but that's just part of it. That's why we hid our emotions, is to not feel uncomfortable. I was feeling a bit depressed a few days ago. I was just feeling a bit down. I got caught up in some insecure thoughts that just got the better of me, and I was asked shortly during that period, I was asked how I was, as in my housemate just in a friendly way asked me how I was doing today. Now, I normally would have said, yeah, fine, when deep down I was feeling shit. And so instead I just called it out. It's like, yeah, I'm feeling shit. I'm having a shit day. And it was really, what's the word? It was just an all-round positive experience. I noticed the thoughts that said, don't say that. You'll make her feel uncomfortable. If people are uncomfortable by your emotions, that's their problem. That's got nothing to do with you. Now, that doesn't mean you should just go around being really angry with people. I mean, if that's what you feel like doing, that it's up to those people to not be around you if they don't want to be. But your job is to be as authentic as you possibly can. And in that, the right people will gravitate to you and you'll be friends with the right people. But if you're always hiding your emotions, you're not going to be authentic. These three parts that I've talked about today, they all kind of fall under the same category. And that is, we're trying to feel safe by ensuring the people around us don't get triggered by us. So we hold back our truth to not trigger other people. We avoid conflict. We don't want other people being triggered towards us. And we hide back our emotions because we think that might trigger other people too. when we get real with this, we take a step back, we see that it's not that we're trying to stop other people's emotions being triggered, we're trying to stop ourselves being triggered by being at the receiving end of those emotions. So we package ourselves in a way that ensures we don't have to deal with the heavier emotions, and therefore we maintain a sense of safety. So you see how these patterns run quite deep. We choose, unconsciously we choose connection over authenticity. The invite is to step into your authentic self. Let other people be triggered. Don't package yourself in a way that ensures you're going to be safe through approval. Give yourself the approval. Ground yourself. Feel your feet against the ground. Listen to my meditation. Meditate. Go within. Find peace. And then you don't need it from the outside world quite so much. Thanks for watching this video, guys. I'll see you in the next one.